It's finally here. Welcome to the Miracle Zone. More than a podcast, this is a sacred space for visionary leaders and heart-centered entrepreneurs who are ready to take off the masks, set aside the roles, and step into the raw, magical truth of what it actually means to lead in these transformational times. More than just building a business and a brand, you know that you're also here to share your medicine, lead a movement, and leave a legacy. If you've been craving next level conversations to get you to your next level, conversations that blend bold leadership, intuitive wisdom, and a touch of the miraculous, then you're in the right place. Because around here, we don't do things in a linear way. Whether you're already running a thriving business, leading a dream team, and impacting millions, or you're still on your way there, here we'll break free from the old ways of doing things and step into a multidimensional way of creating and leadership. Because in the Miracle Zone, we explore the intersection of business, leadership, and frequency. It's where strategy meets soul, and where visionary ideas become reality. And they happen in a snap. I'm Katarina, your host, guide, and bridge between the practical and the mystical in life and business. I'll share insights, channeled guidance, and heart-opening stories from pioneering leaders like you who are living at the edge and reshaping the way that we lead in this new world. So if you're ready to tap into your miracle frequency, to embrace the heart-led leadership that changes everything, then join me. Because this, my love, this is the Miracle Zone. I ask, I see, I know, I trust, I be. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Miracle Zone podcast. And I'm a little speechless that we're actually here with one of my favorite people, dear Homaya, who's a beautiful friend of mine, also one of my clients, which just sounds like the wrong word, a co-creator in the Miracle Zone. And why I'm so excited to have her here is because, Homaya, I'm going to speak to you because you're here instead of in the third person, so people can really feel this. I feel like you are such an embodiment of somebody leading in their miracle zone, creating with the miracle frequency. And I think that's why it's such a joy to create with you and to walk side by side with you. And as a friend, to mother side by side with you, to be in life with you, because I feel like we're riding this miracle frequency river together. And so I'm so delighted to have you here and have everybody have an opportunity to join us and really feel into what it looks like and feels like and sounds like and tastes like to lead as light, with light, for light, creating with this frequency. It's such a delight. So welcome to the space.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We can just sit here and laugh with each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
Laugh and cry with each other.
Yeah. I wanted to say that I'm delighted that we have this possibility because we were looking at creating something like that for some time, and that we have this possibility to allow others to witness this space.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of the people in my community know who you are because you've been very generous in terms of you were one of our guest mentors for the rituals for radiance and the rituals for receiving. And so I think a lot of people watching already know you. I think a lot of your people also know me. And so I really feel like we're a beautiful family already. And anybody else who's peeping in, you're welcome. You're welcome. But I still wanted to just give a little opportunity for you to just speak to who you are, what you do in this moment. I know it's ever evolving and elusive, but even though we have written Homaya bios 10 million times over, What are you feeling called to share in this moment for anybody who's new to you?
Oh, well, but in the context of miracle frequency, I feel that this is so beautiful that one will be able to keep inside of them an undefined space. So, yes, I'm a teacher and a master and a master of masters. I've been a master in a curanderos lineage for, I cannot even count the years. I mean, like, 20 years or something like that. I'm a master healer. But those are names that you can find because once where those were defined, I don't feel that there's a literal definition to who I am and what I am. I'm Homaya. Deal with it. Yeah, and this is part of the freedom, part of what creates a miracle is that you're not trying to put any title so others will understand you or that you will feel that there is a path to create what you are here to create. Yeah, I'm on the spiritual path. I'm on a self-awareness path, a leadership, light leadership path. I'm super, super passionate about the world being led by light as it is supposed to be and as it is being.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding us that the answer is the mystery and what we can't put our finger on. And I think a lot of it is this, it's more of this vibration, this frequency, this feeling. And what I really love to do on the podcast when there's guests is to really do a bit of behind the scenes sharing. So everybody sees all of us leaders doing our thing, leading our thing, shining our thing, showing up, stewarding our message, stewarding our communities, all of the things. And everybody looking to us when things are challenging, just as they are in the world. There's lots of darkness. Who do we look to? How do we lead? And they look to the leaders in the space. And it's really beautiful. And I think one of the biggest privileges in my life and the work that I do is to get to work side by side with leaders and really see what's going on behind the scenes, which is a lot of miracles and also some mess. Let's be honest, that's how we create as humans in the world. And so I'm really excited to take this time with you to do a little bit of that. So it will feel different than a lot of maybe other interviews or podcasts that others have listened to speak on, because you have so much beautiful spiritual wisdom to share. But I want to show about how we are translating that into the creation space, into that, where light becomes leadership. And in that in between space, what does that look like for Homaya? Because it's really fun. And I'm sure also really intense. So I wanted to start with a conversation that we had last year. You know which one I'm talking about because you felt it coming. So to give people who are watching a little bit background context, I was supposed to be in one place and then plans got diverted and that didn't work out. And so I gave Homaya a call. We both live in Portugal, even though we're 3 hours apart. I happened to be in her area and I gave her a call and I said, "Hi, can I pop by for a tea?" And it shifted some timelines that time we spent together. And
Like any good tea.
like any good tea, the power of tea and being in ceremony over tea with other powerful leaders. And I remember when we began to chat, you were telling me about all the things that were going on, all the amazing things. Your business was going through a big expansion. There was family expansions happening. We were talking about motherhood. We were talking about business. We're talking about money. We're talking about all the things as you do over tea and the state of the world. And I remember this moment where I don't know what prompted it. Obviously, I know what prompted it, but I don't know how we got to this point in the conversation. But I remember asking you, but what do you actually want to do? Like right now, what does your heart actually want? Aside from all the things that you're doing, this full plate platter of goodness, of desserts and delights, of how you're showing up in the world and how you're serving. I remember I was just called to ask you, but okay, but forget what you're doing now. What do you actually want to do? And do you remember what you responded in that moment?
No, I'm actually listening to this part of the conversation. It's so crazy because I extracted from this conversation something else. So what did I answer?
Mm-hmm. So we were talking about the full plate. You know, one of the things I do is to help leaders look at their plate and what's on their plate and what they're focusing on and figure out what should stay, what should go, what's missing, how do we play with that? And so you were telling me about your beautiful full plate, but I could sense there was like something missing from the plate. And I think a lot of my work is to help people figure out, oh, do we need to take things off the plate or do we need to put things on the plate? And what I got the sense of when I was talking to you is this plate is so full. Instinct in a logical world, I would say, okay, what needs to come off her plate? But in my intuitive, instinctive world, I thought there's something missing from this plate. And so that's why I asked you this question. But what do you actually want to do? Like really, really. And you don't remember. But what you responded was you got this light in your eyes and your energy completely shifted. And you said, I want to be live in person with my people. I want to be live in person with my people. I haven't done that in so long. And that's what I want to do. And you had this light in your eyes. And I remember just looking at you and saying, so do it. And then we looked at each other and said, it's impossible, but we can do it because it's what needs to happen. And that moment just really landed with me because it was, I don't know, it was the right question to ask in that moment to bring out the answer you already knew. And it made no sense. Mm-hmm. That's what I always say about the miracle frequency. It made no sense to decide that's what you wanted to do. And the way you did it made no sense because it could have been like, okay, great, I'm going to do something in a year or in a couple of months. But it turned into, I'm going to host a live event and I have 21 days to get people from all over the world to show up to this live event, which became your amazing creation, Golden. And so that's the moment that stuck in my mind. I'm curious what came up for you in the creation of that moment. The light in your eyes, and then let's do it, and then the craziness of it, and us being like, it's a miracle frequency moment. Like it will happen because it's happening already.
Oh my God, this is so beautiful. It's so powerful also to get it from your perspective. I'm going to give a little bit of a context for the listeners. I know that you know it.
Yeah.
I was teaching around the world intensely for a decade. I was traveling from one country to another and sometimes a few times a year to a specific country. And I was initiating healers and giving teachings. And that happened for so many years, for so long. And I felt that it comes to full saturation when my boy was around 2-3 years. And I felt like both because of the content, I had a lot of questions around healing. And because of my life scenario, I stopped. And we can say that I closed that business and after a few years opened another business, which was like more an online teaching and transmissions. And there are people who were with me and they are with me for 20 years or 15 years and have met me somewhere around the world in Germany or in France or wherever I was teaching. And some of them were asking me, when are you coming live again? Can we meet you live? I even had one of my clients renting literally an event place for me. She rented it for me. She scheduled the dates and she said, here he is, just come and teach. And I wasn't still feeling the calling, but I felt it here. It was just like I felt it. I felt it, but it didn't land. And in May, I was in an event, an in-person event that had like a big scale event. And it was activating inside of me what it means to be in a room. So it was not the first in-person event that I was, but that specific one was nourishing me back. And I started flirting with the idea, what will happen if I'm going to go in person again, live with my people? That was a sensation or a feeling. And I have no idea how and why, but things started to move. And summer started, which means that my child is in vacation and people are in vacation. I'm living in Sintra, which is a gorgeous, amazing place. And it is the most touristic place. It's like, how do you get a spot in Sintra? And we were in the process of buying a house in the location that you're living. And I was in the idea already. I already had this idea of, I think I'm going to do something crazy. I have a feeling I'm going to do something crazy. I have a feeling I'm going to go live. I'm going to do something in person. Then you came, and I remember I said to Yuval, my husband, I said to him, she's coming for a reason. It's not for nothing. There's a reason. Which in that breath, I also want to say to those who are listening, there's always definitely a reason to so many things. But when it is mentioned energetically that there's a reason, that means there's a real reason. Faster and more real. And I still felt there's a reason. And it was not only for tea. I think that you came for a sleepover.
I think the tea turned into a sleepover. It was some good tea.
It was a good tea. We went to sleep. My husband went to sleep. Gome went to sleep, and we were chatting and chatting and chatting. And among all I told you, so I felt that I told you even before I told you, I have a feeling I want to do a live event. And then you came with an answer, and with a question, and you say, but what do you really want to do? And I told you, no, I really want to do that. And then we said, let's make it happen. And if I recall well, I already had an idea for a place. I was already seeing some of the things, and we were like, but one of the things that I feel that is so important to know in that context, and I also, again, really wish to inspire those who are listening. When you enter a miracle zone, there is no logic, and it's really hard to trace what happened before and after, because the ether and the real are alternating in such a fast frequency, in velocity, as I love to say. And it is so hard to trace who said that first, who had the idea, who mentioned that, who brought that. It's like you cannot trace it because it is untraceable on the physical dimension. It is untraceable to say, because it's almost like everything is happening simultaneously at the same moment, at the same time. Because what also happened is you then left for a few days, and then I think you came back on Sunday evening or on Monday evening. So that our meeting, if I recall well, was on Thursday or maybe on Friday evening. So you went for a weekend and you came back again. And when you came back again, it was already locked and loaded.
It was done.
It was
done.
It was done. We had location, we had the photographer, he brought so we had the videographer, we had the name, maybe we already had, see, this is so challenging to trace what happened before and after. It's like there's no way to even trace it because it all happens simultaneously.
Absolutely.
It's
And
just
I really want to just drive this home for people listening, because one of the big ahas that I've had, which is why this podcast is called The Miracle Zone, is that we are creating in the miracle zone. A lot of people talk about the genius zone, it being in your zone of genius. That's amazing. I think we've all experienced that, but it's a different thing, right? In the genius zone, it's about us being in the flow, and it's still us in the creation. When you're in the miracle zone, it's like you are the flow. The flow is around you. The field is creating for you. And that's why it's so powerful, because we no longer need to carry it all. We often, the less we carry, the better, right? Because then everything can organize around us in a way that doesn't make sense to our human brain. It's just a completely different way of creating. And so that's why it's so important when you're thinking about your role as a leader or in your business or whatever you're doing in life, is if I am a person who has the capacity to tap into the miracle zone, because that's how I create, and I've been doing it for lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes, that's where I need to reside as much as possible, because that's my way of creating in the world. It's very different than the templates that we see all around us for how we create business, for how we create other things in the world, for how we create a new world, even. It's just a completely different template that is as much being active. You know, it's not like you were just like, I'm just going to sit on my couch and nothing. You did a lot of things, but also being equally in full surrender. So I wanted to mention that piece.
so
But I also wanted to
yeah, I know you want to ask something, but miracle frequency. I also want to add to that.
jump in. The field's just creating.
Yeah, I feel that it's really knowing that we're always in the miracle frequencies. However, there will be times or time frames of greater accuracy. So we're always in the miracle frequencies, and some of the times that we're doing, or some of the things that we're doing in a linear time, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, is being done to support the moments where there is a 100% divine alignment, and all that there is a portal. All that there is a portal, and the now become wider and brighter. And there's no limitation of the now. It's not that you're sitting all day long and you're just waiting for the miracle frequency and doing nothing, because then you're going to move into like a high level frustration, and plus you're not in your vitality. You're doing something for the miracle frequency and in the miracle frequency, and there will come a now moment where that will become alive through a shape and a form and a color and a sense and a smell. So it's like, be there, attentive, that one day it's going to come to life, and it could be that some of the things will come in your next lifetime. We are working on this relationship. It's not the first lifetime.
Of course.
So this is part of the thing. It's like how you're showing up always to the miracle frequency, even in times and in situations where it doesn't feel miraculous. It doesn't supposed to feel miraculous. I knew you're coming for a reason. For the human mind, the reason was one. But for the energetic presence of me and both, and you had a reason to come, right? So on the human mind, on the human reasoning of cause and effect, we can say the limitation, honestly, excuse me for those that it hurts their feeling, 11:11 my time now, cause and effect, you say, oh, there's a reason and so on. And it is the prism, the perspective that the human can perceive. But for beyond time and beyond space, definitely there was a reason, beyond the reason that you could manage to grasp, and beyond the reason that I could manage to grasp. And then we move from karma, from cause and effect, to the portal of grace. And this is where a new zone, this is where a new frequency is alive, and you can operate. But you've done the you've been in it in another
weaving.
mode. Yeah.
It's like a constant weaving. You don't know when the tapestry will be complete.
Yeah.
Which you never stop weaving. But are you weaving like sloppy? Is it a sloppy weave? Is it a refined weave? Is it using golden thread? There's details there that you can control through how you're doing it, through how you're showing up.
Yeah.
But you're always weaving.
Yeah. And being willing to be aware that you are waiting while you're doing, because there's something greater. There's something like, there is this incredible light being present, and it is accumulating its presence and gathering its presence. And then at that moment that it shows up, it's also the time to say, it's showtime now. It's like, now we're playing. Now we're playing. And what is happening that I see a lot with muggles, but also with spiritual people, is that spirituality stays in the miracle frequency and God's grace, all of those real wonder, because they don't feel it all the time in a high voltage. They can easily start having doubts around it instead of celebrating it, regardless of the size of it, regardless if it's just felt in 1%, it's just felt in just coincidence, just a moment of telepathy, just a moment. It's like, this is your choice. If you're going to make this moment of synchronicity, a moment of telepathy, something that you are just like dismissing, or you're going to say, those are all the evidence that I need, that there's something greater than that showing up for me. And they're going to come a moment, that great thing going to dance with me, going to invite me to go on the dance floor, and we're going to dance. So, people sometimes are asking me about doubts, right? Like, but I have doubts. I also have doubts, but those doubts are rising in the presence of goodness. If you were lethargic and you were like not believing anything, then doubt would not exist. You would be in certainty that there's limitation. But it is in the presence of your mightiness that you start doubting if you're capable. So can we also look at the doubt as something that actually pointing you to, oh my God, something incredible is happening?
I want to add to that. I've never thought of it this way. First of all, that brings tears to my eyes. So thank you. Thank you for the reminder. I was thinking about how I work with that. When I'm going through the challenging periods or through the doubts or through everything is not working or breaking down, but I still get the little synchronicities. And as you were talking about it, I realized I get a little turned on, right? So I'll give you an example. Like in the last week, there's been, a bit of a mess, as happens in different areas of our lives. But there's also been so many little synchronicities every single time. Even as we were talking now, I also saw the 11:11. Immediately, it's like, huh? It's like, huh? It's like, oh yeah, oh, And so, how can we stay connected to the curiosity of, ooh, I wonder how this is going to turn out? Because every time something turns out terribly wrong, I immediately start asking, oh, that's my default. I would say for the last 5 years at least, immediately my default is, how is this going to work out even better than I could have imagined? Because it's not even just a manifestation, it's a miracle. It makes no sense. And we need to be a little humble too. Our ego thought we thought we knew how it would work, and then it doesn't work that way. It's something completely different. So I wanted to share that as an activation I was feeling in my body as you were talking. I was like, oh, can I not just be like, ooh, curious, but like even turned on? Like, okay, keep moving forward with the certainty and uncertainty as one together. And they don't need to cancel each other out. And there's something beautiful about that. And I think in working just using the golden example with you. So this beautiful event that you did last year, it was over the Lionsgate portal, which is why it was so powerful, because when you decided that you were going to do a live event, this was July, and you decided it would, in 21 days, essentially, it was planned in 21 days. It was sold out in 21 days. So it was like a miracle of planning, a miracle of sales, a miracle of just energy consolidating in this beautiful space and time for this moving through the Lionsgate portal together with everybody who showed up. And it was like, it wasn't easy. A lot had to move. It wasn't easy, right? I think there's a myth that it's easy, but when you're working behind the scenes, it's a lot of work. I know your team also was like all on leave. This all happened when your team was on vacation.
And my child was on vacation. I don't know what was more challenging.
No, the child was home and the team was having a break. And nevertheless, this event was created and completely sold out in 21 days and was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And so, and it was a lot of time and energy and effort, and also 10 times more the magic that made it happen. And delightful. The laughter and the delight, it was orgasmic creation, right? And I think people could feel it at the event.
It was. I feel, if I can add another point to what I feel that defined for me and support me to recognize how to move in a miracle frequency and to stretch it and really enjoy it and so on, similar to what I said about the DAOs before, right? One of the things that I said, those DAOs would not exist if there was no real potential here, right? And to say, okay, but I say yes. I keep on saying yes. So this idea is I keep on saying yes to what feels good. I keep on saying yes to what feels good. And then comes again the game of, there's a difference between it feels good because I know it and it is familiar. It feels good because it is satisfying. And it feels good because it is uplifting, what you describe, like this joy, this orgasmic experience, right? It feels good because it is uplifting and there's this flavor in it of, I wonder, how would that feel? So you get the idea, and it's not having any gray matter in it, thinking. It doesn't come from a thinking realm. I thought about it, someone else thought about it. Like, it doesn't have this frequency. It's more like the frequency of a bell. It's like something so clear tone. And it's like, well, I know it. Those are figs in chocolate. I know it. I sense it. I can smell it. But I've never tried it. And it feels good. I wonder what it would require, how it will come to life. Or, so it's like, okay, I want to do the event. Great. Everyone is in vacation or planning to be in vacation. Like, my team were still so involved and so so engaged, but was like, okay, where? Probably going to do it still here around. What is the best place that I can find? I had an idea of one place, but then the frequency of that place, it's not that it's not beautiful, it's not that it's not miraculous, it's not that it's not, amazing. And part of the things that we're going to do in this golden event will be in that place, but it's more like, I have this place and it's beautiful and it is amazing and it has the frequency of a known. So let's stretch a little bit. Let's bring this positive, good stretch, not the stretch that can tear something apart, but not also be too comfortable. So finding this nice stretch and really moving with it. And it's like, okay, well, we need to find another spot. And we started looking, and I had just the idea of another spot. Yeah, they were not only available, which is like, this is the spot where all the romantic, exclusive, high frequency marriage wedding are happening in Sintra. And the 888 was the 888 gate. Of course, everyone wanted to get married at that day, but no, they were there with 2 statues of lions waiting for us as we step in.
It's so good. It's so good. And this reminds me also of the conversation we've been having more recently over the last few months. So this amazing event took place. Then you pre-sold the event for this year, which is taking place again, August on 8/8, 7/8, and 8/8. And so I think it was 10 months in advance. Not only the other one sold out in 21 days, it was amazing. And then it was already pre-sold for this year, 10 months in advance. I remember the moment where you were feeling it was bigger. I remember that moment, even as it was happening. We were there last year in the event, and you walked off of stage and you looked at me and you said, "This needs to be bigger. I see hundreds." The stretching is, it's like I see this rubber band. It was like that stretch. And then the stretch is this, we never get to the edge of the stretch because it's constantly stretching.
Yeah.
And so even though it would have been really easy to just redo, even in this exquisite venue from last year, the same thing, it sold out. There was the invitation from the field again to stretch it further to more people, to a new place. And so do you want to talk a little bit about what's been going on behind the scenes for the creation of the one for this year that's happening soon?
Yes, I feel like it was so good we had to do it again. I mean, like, it was so good we didn't want it to end, so we had to do it again.
Yeah. And I remember somebody was saying, we need to do this monthly, multiple times a year. And you and I had to sit and be like, whoa, 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 let's like feel into what this is and how often this energy wants to present itself.
Yeah.
Just like everybody was feeling that.
Yes, it was. No, it was, and it is, and it will be. Above and beyond. Yeah, a few weeks afterwards, I said, let's sell it again and see what will happen. I wasn't expecting that it will be sold out so quickly again. And then I had to stop, because if 10 months before we sold it completely, then what am I going to do? And we said, let's look for a location. And there were a wave in my life. I had to go, and I'm still going through something that is, you experience it once in a lifetime, where your parents are decating. And both of my parents are really going through health challenges, and it demanded, and it's still demanding, so much energy from me, and such a huge growth to grow in the presence of it while we're looking for a location, and we couldn't find a location.
It was the opposite. Last year, it was like, here is the location, last minute, perfect. And this year, it was like, doors closing. No.
And then I also even said no.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes, it was like that. Like, we found a location, then they say you cannot put the candles. We find a location, they said you cannot do sage, you cannot do music. You can do, but not in that size. You can do, but it's cost like way, way more than what we could hold. There was so many things coming along the way. And then we even found a location which was okay, and it felt like just okay-ish. Just had this great frequency, but okayish frequency. And I couldn't put myself into rest, let's say it out loud, because the toilets were not matching the style.
The venue's amazing, but the toilets are not the vibe. And if one thing is out of alignment,
this cannot make it. And this is the moment where you say, we're always operating in the 3D. the mind will always think, and your job as a leader of light is to search for the places where the mind ends and to feel that you're strong and stable and that you're at home. So, yeah, my heart couldn't feel at rest. The place was okay. And okay is just okay. How can you do golden in okay? And it was already edgy, like the time is advancing. We're already in May or something like that. People were buying tickets, people bought flight tickets, and I'm just getting no, no, no. And I'm still like, and I felt like, okay, I said to Yali, call that place, another place. Call that place. And she said, oh, we already called them. They said there's no place. And I said, call again. Just call them again. I have a feeling, call them again. And I remember that she sent me a message and she said, I'm even afraid to be something along the line of, I'm even afraid to be happy. I'm even afraid to say that there's an openness because there's a chance and we don't know what will come out of it. We already had a contract with the okayish place, right? The contract was in our table. We already said we go there. And then this ray of light entered. And hilarious as it might sound, the name of the place was Secret Spot.
The secret spot. The secret spot.
And you
was waiting all along.
Of course, it was there all along. And it just was a secret spot. We couldn't spot it. Not in that frequency. And some things needed to change in me, and some things needed to change in my frequency and in the way that I move to be able to be holding that. And the journey is still on the edge of the unfamiliar, like stepping on the threshold of the unknown. I mean, like I'm saying to myself, other people will say standing on the threshold of the known, right? You just got on the edge of the known, took it to the end, to the edge, to the edge. But it's like, no, you're already one foot in the unknown and you want to stay there. And that is always risky when you are in the mind and undescribable when you are in your heart. And the reason that the mind defined it as risky is because the mind know that there's something big coming.
Protecting.
Yeah. So it's like now it's again now in that moment, it's again a constant play of, okay, we're probably going to stretch more. Okay, we're probably going to go more. Okay, we're probably going to play more. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Because the known can only repeat itself because it's already known.
And we didn't come here for the no.
We ourselves were unknown.
Right where we began. I wanted to ask you one final piece.
Oh, we're final.
Just,
oh my God.
It can be a long piece. Take as long as you want. We don't play the time game. What's coming to me is we've had a lot of conversations, again, from a business and leadership perspective, but also in this same conversation of expansion and stretching. And there's been times when we'll talk about something. It could be golden, it could be a program or a new transmission that's coming through. And we're feeling into the investment for it, the exchange, the energy exchange for it, the I don't like to use the word value because these things are invaluable, but the exchange, because we are living in a world where we exchange. And I think one of the things that really strikes me is when we get really clear on, okay, this service, the exchange is this. And it's always a stretch because we're ever stretching and because we're ever recognizing the power of the work that we do in the world. And sometimes you'll say to me, yes, this is when this is the exchange, but I'm not there yet. I need to wait until I feel that I'm there to then share that. And so I wanted to just explore like what actually is going on internally and energetically for you to kind of do that energetic upgrade in that frequency of receiving in wealth and openness to receiving higher and wider, exchange of abundance, exchange of wealth for the work that you're doing in the world. Because as you stretch, as the work stretches, also the capacity to receive stretches. And so I love to hear a little bit more about what is it that one day it's like, no, I'm not there at that price yet. And then a day or two later, it's like, it's here, it's landed. Let's move ahead with that.
Mm. What comes to me so strong when you were speaking about it is I met my man when I was 36. And of course, we're dating and a different short and long relationship. And I was present in all the relationship that I was with the most open heart that I could be at that time. But I was never heartbroken when a relationship ended because I knew the love of my life before I met him. I knew him. I knew the feeling. I knew the depth. I just knew it inside of me. So it's not that when I met other men, I was like, no, I'm not going to date you because it feels so real, but it's still not that. It's like, yeah, we're going to be here together. We're going to do that. It's going to be real. And it's either we're going to make it or it will have another form. So this freedom of form is the key for me. The willingness to be really present, knowing that you are creating inside and inside out. So everything already exists inside. All the formulas of the universe are already here. There's nothing in the universe that exists that is not already yours. And even I would say that is not already alive within you. Everything is here. Everything is alive. Everything is mine. It's already here. Then it is a play of attention, and it is a play of connection, and it is a play of recognition, of knowing that it is here, and knowing that it is forming itself from the ether into the real 3D experience. It is forming itself. And as it is forming itself, it might just get closer and closer and closer and closer. It could be that would be. And it could be that it will shapeshift. And some people will say that it's a dying experience. No, it's not a dying experience. It's a shape-shifting experience. And in the shape-shifting experience, I am willing for it to form itself, and I am holding space for it to form itself through me. And I am okay that it will form itself fast, or it will form itself slow, or it will form itself in layers, or it will form itself in patches, or like, I know it. And as I know it, I am here to support it to come to life through me. And I'm also allowing or supporting my human to be a greater extension of God's light to experience it, not only to witness it passing through me, but really to experience it. When I met Yuval, it was it. It was it. Point at the end. So, I mean, like you and everyone who's listening, how many times in your life have you sensed it in a whisper? How many times in your life have you got the messages? How many times in your life have you heard something? Do you really need the universe to repeat it 1,000 times? Or is it enough that the universe will say it one time and you got it as a truth frequency and you got it as God's frequency? And then you are willing to name yourself as a co-creator and to name yourself as I say the words honestly, as an ally of God.
It's a choice. And then it stops being about you. I think we get so caught up in when we're creating things, whatever they be it creating the relationships or creating the program or creating the live event or whatever it is, in our role as the creator and shaper of it, again, as opposed to it exists. Can we accept that it exists and let it be simpler in that way? Again, still being a co-creator, not surrendering, not flopping like a dead fish,
An active surrender. It's an
active surrender, still alert, still awake, still engaged, still in action, as well as in action.
Exactly. It's an active surrender. You're actively surrendering to your light. You're actively surrendering to your truth. You're actively moving towards your vision as your vision is coming towards you, walking towards you. Idea that we're supposed to be served can be really misunderstood. We are being definitely served. We're being definitely taken care of. But if we're not here, there would be no one to be serving.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, I always say the miracle frequency, you get to be carried. You're still in movement, but you get to be carried. And that reminds me also of a mother with the baby in their womb. It's like the mother is here. She's caring for you. She's feeding you. She's providing for you. You're taken care of and you're growing and you're evolving. It's all part of a natural unfolding, but you're still there. Otherwise, there would be no child, no baby in the womb for the mother to be nurturing into life. Maya, thank you for sharing your wisdom as always, and also to be open to sharing some of the back end workings from the leadership and business perspective that I think are so valuable for people to witness and to see this way of creating the world. And for anybody who's listening, if you're still lucky, there may still be some golden tickets available. So we'll include that in the links as well for you to check out and to feel into if maybe that's a stretch for you that you're feeling, oh, I feel I need to be in that place. And just like those people last year, I think it was from 10 or 11 countries, somehow within the span of 2 or 3 weeks, people came in from all over the world. Many of them didn't even know why they ended up in Portugal. They just showed up.
One person got the ticket before she had a passport.
I know, it's crazy. The people traveling without passports, people showing up in Portugal, calling me saying, hi, I'm in Portugal. Want to meet up? I'm like, oh, I think you're here for this event. You know, the force is so magnetic in that sense. So I'm really excited for what's already been created and is being created. I'm excited for anybody who shows up. And Homaya, thank you so much for taking the time to give us a bit of glimpse into the magic of creating with light. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, thank you, thank
You're
you,
so
thank you,
welcome,
thank
Mustafa.
you.
Thank you for the co-creation.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Miracle Zone. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a transmission. And if today's episode and conversation resonated, leave a review and share it with a fellow visionary leader. In the links, you can access my free Miracle Business Blueprint, the 7-part framework I use with my clients to create a thriving, scalable, and self-sustaining business that gives you more freedom, not less. Plus, you'll receive a guided process to identify where to focus first so you can spend more time leading in your miracle zone right away. Let's build the new as a collective for the collective. Together, we're not just creating miracles, we're living them. Until next time, stay in the miracle zone.